guys, happy Thursday. I think it's Thursday. It's been a week already, okay? If you're not watching Couch Court with Llama, you're not doing something right because you need to go over there and you need to watch the insanity that is going on over there. So, I am Teri True Crime, and tonight I have a special guest co host. If you watch the Zizians, you will recognize this beautiful woman. Here is Captain. Hi.
Hello, everyone. You might remember me from the Zizians, from
Yes.
chat, making bad jokes, or from Discord. But
As they say, or for Discord, and your jokes are not bad. Your jokes
well,
are amazing.
human. They vary in
Amazing.
quality.
Yeah. So, because I always forget this, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps you get notified for when we go live. And if you love insanity and craziness, you can also become a member. And I can tell you last night, our members only was a little off the hook. Okay. And if you join and become a member now, you can go back and watch all of the insanities. And we're going to start doing more members only thing. So you need to be prepared for that. And then if you really want to get crazy, you can head to the Blend of Seven Winery in Marion, Ohio on July 19th for a live show hosted by yours truly, Teri True Crime, and our lovely llama. Tickets are on sale now. So let me tell you, it is a small venue. I want to say it's like 40 seats or something. It is indoor, air conditioned. The cheapest ticket price is like $7.50. Does not include a glass of wine, but it goes up from there. But you get all kind of fun stuff. But you can come see. I just got the notification that we have severe storms coming, and they have issued a severe thunderstorm notification. It's not supposed to arrive till 9. So I shouldn't blow away in front of you guys. If I do, Captain will take care of you guys. And Amy in the background will make sure it all works. Okay, Captain, you good with that?
Yeah, it'll happen the way it happens.
So, but guys, it's going to be a blast in Ohio. Amy, our sister producer, and her better half are going to be there. Mama Llama's going to be there. Elbow Feet, myself. And then we have other people that we don't know who've bought tickets. So we're going to get to meet some new friends. I mean, I met some great people at the one that we did in Austin. And I have to tell you, I'm horrible. I couldn't tell you their names, but I can tell you where each one of them lives and how they found out about us. So I don't know what that says about me.
So you're good with an internet survey?
I am. I am. Now, we are going to talk about what we're drinking. And I'm going to let you go first, Captain, because I am kind of jealous about
Well,
what you're drinking.
you should be, because
I
tonight I'm drinking a very, very fancy wine. Not sure if you've all heard of it. It's called Boone's
Yes.
Strawberry Farm.
Yeah, the Boone Strawberry Hill is
Boone's
great.
Farm Strawberry Hill. This is the first time I've had it since freshman year of college. So we meet again, old frenemy. And it is going to pop up in the story later. So I went with a theme beverage
I mean,
here.
girl, I used to love me some Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill. I remember it was $1.99. So on my broke ass budget, I could buy 2 bottles. Okay. I would drink them. I'll tell you, I have some great memories drinking it, but I also have some not so great memories
Yeah,
and some mistakes I made while drinking it.
I have a not so great memory of it, but
I also
uh
like their Tickle Pink. If you haven't tried the Tickle Pink, it's really
no.
good too.
This
Maybe
is
I'll
the only
get
flavor
some
I've had from
and take
Boone's.
to Ohio because our wonderful assistant producer, Amy, is working on finding us an Airbnb. So, for those of
Oh,
us on our team, We can all stay in one place, but have our own beds. Sorry, I'm not sleeping with elbow, feet, and llama, okay? A llama and feet and elbows, just not my thing.
But is the Airbnb cat friendly, Amy?
I guess it could be. Just
Parties?
put in the request. Just put in the request. Well, tonight I am drinking something, and now I've been told that I have to be careful with the name because it means something now that I didn't know it meant. So it is Lost Hog Sauvignon Blanc, and it is from California. And it has the cutest little pink hog picture on it and a nice background. And I thought it was so cute. And hog means more than just motorcycles. And I'm going to leave it at that. But it does say, because I open it, it elicit flavors of golden apple, pear, apricot, and honeycomb.
Yeah, illicit flavors indeed.
And then I am going to just go on and say this because as of this time right now, it is still legal in Texas. I also took half of a mushroom THC gummy. So I have given Amy permission to mute my mic if I go off the rails because we need no bean flicking. We need no pineapples, none of that. Okay. See, I'm already making Amy laugh in the background.
I'm too new to this game, Teri. You gotta hold on.
Uh, hey, it is all assistant producer that does it. Let me just say, it is all her. It is all her. And I have to tell you, Captain, I love your eyeshadow and I love
Thank
the
you.
glittery part in the center. And one day you're going to have to tell me how you do that and not get it in your eyes. Because every time I go to try to put the little sparkles right there, I get the sparkles in my eye.
I mean, it's just a product. It's a ColourPop glitterily obsessed is the type of glitter, and
I
then they
have.
have a bunch of different ones in that. So of course I've
Is
got
it
the Sailor
liquid
Moon
or is
going
it a
on.
pen?
It's a gel.
It's a gel because I bought,
Yeah.
I guess I bought Elf something and it's like
Yeah.
that. And it's got a little brush and I stick that brush in my eye every time. Okay, I
I know.
already do not like the first photo that I see.
Oh,
Folks are setting
well,
up. Okay, Captain, let's just
are we
get this
gonna
party started.
okay. Well, tonight's gonna be creepy on multiple levels because not only is our story about a serial killer, he's a dentist. If you read
Mm,
the show title,
mm.
I personally hate going to the dentist. I understand the value of dentists, but why you want to be looking in my mouth for a living? And I have another interest in this case, but we're going to get there soon enough to be mysterious about that.
So I despise
Yeah.
going to the dentist. Okay. I just do. But murder fascinates me. So I'm excited to learn more. But I'm going to also say it quickly turned into a nightmare for me because Double H gets on me because he gets his teeth cleaned twice a year. Guys, for me to go get my teeth cleaned, it requires a Xanax and the gas they give you. I don't like people in my mouth. No,
No, but I mean, getting it cleaned twice a year, that usually
that's great.
means like less pressure on you. That's the
As long as they give me
professional
Xanax.
upkeep twice a year.
Yeah, it does. So what happened, and this is a horrible story, when I was pregnant with my first kid, I could not have anesthesia at the dentist because I was high risk. They took out my wisdom teeth with nothing but local lidocaine shot. And it was impacted, it was wrapped around my mother and my husband at the time held me down. And ever since then, I don't like dentists. I would never date a dentist either. Would you date a dentist?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't, it's like I get it and I know it's a lucrative career, but the
I'm
desire to be in
no.
somebody else's mouth all the time.
Rather be dating or married to a gyno.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, and I'm gonna just say tonight is not gonna help me any with my phobia. Yes, I need nitrous oxide for cleaning and the Xanax. Don't forget the Xanax. Okay? Okay. So, guys, dentophobia. It's a real thing, guys. Is it a term used to describe a fear of dread of visiting the dentist or receiving dental treatments? Now, this fear, oh my God, that just triggered me. Thank you so much, fabulous Amy. Oh, now it's triggered, as we all know, phobias by various factors, including past traumatic experience, the fear of pain, or anxiety about being judged for poor oral hygiene. And guys, that is not my problem. I don't care if they judge me. I don't like the sounds. I don't like the smells. I don't like any of it. Okay. I don't like any of it.
Mm-mm.
I don't. Now, individuals with dentophobia often experience intense anxiety, elevated heartbeat, and a strong desire to avoid dental appointments. That's me. That's me.
Me too.
And this can in turn affect their oral health and overall well being. So I'm going to just tell you my solution: brush your teeth twice a day, use the water pick, keep your teeth clean, and you don't have to go as often.
Well, yeah, that's a trade-off. Every 6 months, you don't have to do as much upkeep yourself,
That's right.
but yeah. Um, so unfortunately, it sounds like we both have dentophobia already. And after we hear tonight's story, we may have a new reason to not want to go to the dentist. This is one of those stories that's going to make you ask, do you ever really know somebody?
Lady in gray, you don't have to use floss if you get the water pick water thing that sprays between your teeth. It's like the water floss. Then you don't have to stick that stuff between your teeth. Okay. Listen to podcast and music. Okay, I want someone to go to the dentist and I want them to play this episode while they're at the dentist without earplugs and see what the dentist thinks.
I
What do you
think they'd
think?
be interested.
I think
And
they
maybe
would.
it would stop them from asking you questions when you can't respond to them
Why do they? Okay, we're not going to go there. Now,
every time.
tonight we are going to talk about Glennon Edward Engleman, a deceptively somewhat normal looking man who had an unusual talent for convincing women to marry other men for their money. And guys, guess what? Many of his accomplices and victims were his patients. Now, guys, I used to have a friend who used to say, if you're going to get married, you should marry someone for money before love. And I can say I do not agree with her. And that's probably one of the reasons I ended our friendship after a decade. And I hope she doesn't marry a dentist. But before we get into his many crimes, let's take a look at Glenn before he began drilling and killing. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I almost would prefer to talk about the necrophiliacs. I'm just going to say.
Sorry, Llama wasn't available this week. There's no one to do necrophiliac role play with you.
Yeah, not I mean, I would rather that than this. So, Engelman was born December 6th, 1927 in St. Louis, Missouri. Now, it is apparently the city of 1,000 sites. Okay. I don't I don't get that whole thing, but it's okay because who knew that? Now, his father was a railroad worker and a U.S. Army Air Corps veteran. Now, his mother was a homemaker. He was the youngest of four. So let me tell you, this mama had her hands full. Okay. They lived in a working class neighborhood in South St. Louis, and Glenn was described as a middling student. So that means he didn't excel at anything in particular and eventually followed in his father's footsteps and joined the Air Corps. Now, I have a question about the Air Corps.
What's
You have
that?
military background, right? Or you know
I'm in a
something about it?
military family. I
Family.
don't
Okay, I
personally.
thought there was. What is the Air Corps?
So before there was the Air Force, there was the Army Air Corps. and I don't remember the year that the Air Force was formed,
Okay.
but it just fell under the Army
I was
previously.
gonna go and give it a goog, and I was like, "Yeah, I bet Captain will be able to educate me."
I mean, I don't have all the details, but, if I don't know how much you can see in my background, but, my father flew for the Navy, so everyone's got a
Okay.
little bit of
Wait, the Navy
flying going on.
the Navy flies? I thought they were boats.
Well, he flew off of boats. Like, they have Air Force
I thought the
carriers in the
Air
ocean, and then
Force
they
landed on okay, see, guys,
no, it's Navy aviators. So,
I did not know that.
yeah,
I always see I don't have didn't
that's
my dad was in the Coast Guard.
I think you can see. I
I
can't
can
fully
see,
tell from my also, are things backwards? I don't know, 'cause sometimes things are backwards
but
on the
I
camera.
always thought
There's an airplane poster behind me.
okay, I always thought
That's
that
right.
the Navy meant they only did boats, but that's okay.
Well, they
That's
do
okay.
boats with planes on them sometimes,
So,
you know?
like I
It's like
said,
one-two
he
punch.
joined his father and he joined the Air Corps, so now we know what
He's
that
joined
is.
now we know.
Lady in
But he
Gray?
did
Yes, I've
eventually
seen
he
Top
left.
Gun.
My dad worked on Top Gun.
But that wasn't the Navy, was it?
Yeah, it was Navy. It was an aircraft carrier.
Oh my god.
And my
I guess
dad
I
was an
just
accountant for the Navy and also had an aircraft carrier under his command, so he was
okay.
doing the finances for Top Gun.
Okay, if anybody wants to recommend I watch Top Gun or Maverick, I will say yes, and I will watch those tonight.
Or you could watch War Stars.
God, no.
That's has flying in it.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. You know what? Come to Ohio, and maybe we can all watch it together.
Oh, bring your gummies.
Oh, I will bring a lot. They possibly tonight or at midnight. It's today or tomorrow. They are talk that our governor is going to totally ban it.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
So
we're all in different states. We'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out.
So, back to dentist Glenn Engleman. Eventually, he did leave the military, and thanks to the GI Bill, he got a degree in dentistry from Washington University in St. Louis. Now, if anyone is curious who else went to WashU, it would be this girl right here. He graduated in 1954, though, so we didn't run into each other at the Bears Den or Wild.
He's not your dad, is he?
My dad?
Well, if he
My
went in
dad went to the
50s
Naval Academy.
okay, but if your dad I mean, what year was your dad born?
I'm not doxing my dad like that.
Okay. I was just thinking, I mean, maybe that's why
My
he
dad
went there.
graduated after Glenn Engelman, I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay, then yeah, then we're all good then. I was
In
just
in
making
at
sure.
Annapolis.
Okay. Yeah.
So Engelman did not choose dentistry as a vocation out of compassion or even a passion for the work because, as I've said before, who has that passion? He chose it out of pragmatism and a desire to have a steady income and a prestigious profession. He took his fresh DDS right back to his childhood neighborhood, Bevo Mill, where he opened a practice proudly serving the community.
Oh, look at that building. That is a cool building.
I know, right? That was a beer garden owned by Anheuser-Busch that I never went to, and I wish I had.
Well,
Still
I
there.
like that it's called Bevo Mill because
Mhm.
Bevo is the name of University of Texas Longhorn mascot is Bevo.
I was not aware of that.
See, every now and then I know something. Now, his neighbors considered him to be one of them. And guys, he often provided dental help when they couldn't afford his professional services. I mean, that sounds like a great guy, right? I mean, he did fillings, extractions, cleaned out abscesses, and basic cleaning for his friends and neighbors who didn't have regular dental care. I mean, that's pretty nice. I mean,
That is nice.
and he provided financial and other aid to his neighbors with food gifts and provided coats and jackets to the neighborhood children who didn't have one of their own. And guys, he was also known for throwing neighborhood block parties on holidays and weekends.
Now, when I was there, that was the kind of thing that Nellie was doing, except with a lot less of a dental focus.
Oh my goodness.
That's when I was in St. Louis. I'm not in this video, though.
I was going to say, where are you in the
Shocking.
video? Where are you in the video?
I've never
Oh.
looked that good in gold hot pants.
Now, he also hired the youth of the area to work for him, including young ladies that were trained as hygienists. And he had trained them. They had worked for him for a while, and then he would find employment for them in other dental offices, kind of like a catch and release program for local ladies. And guys, surely there's nothing irregular or odd about this, right?
Sounds totally normal. All of this did make quite an impression on the neighbors, obviously. They were impressed that he had decided to live and practice in his childhood working class neighborhood rather than practice in a fancy part of town. He was a local boy who done good, and he helped his more unfortunate neighbors. However, all of this giving resulted in financial problems for his practice and in his personal life. But a neighborhood full of needy, grateful people also provided him with a pool of easy to manipulate targets.
That place looks so cool, and I want to go there, and I'm going to have to add that to my list.
I mean,
So.
this episode, I feel like I should be getting paid by the St. Louis Tourism Board, but we'll get there.
Well, I just got told that I should not be on the Texas tourist board because when I told Llama about the snakes and the coyotes and the birds that fly down, she was like, yeah, why don't you just go work for the tourism department, Teri?
I mean, don't lead with the snakes.
Don't lead with the snakes. Now, Engelman was known to be attractive to women. I mean, everybody has their own type, okay? And despite his round face, I mean, like I said, there is somebody for everybody, right? Now, at some point, he began to use his ease with women to manipulate them with his charm, sex appeal, and his perceived wealth. Now, he reportedly had a hypnotic way with women, and he would use his sexual power over women to coerce them into his murder schemes. Are we sure he wasn't drugging them? I just don't know how much sexual power I feel from this guy.
No, this is the only. I mean, there are very few pictures of him that are even acceptable for this stage of the story. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Kelly P, he ain't no Alan Jackson. And I'm not talking about the country singer, guys. Okay. I am talking about Mr. Kelly P. And then I am his mistress. Okay.
I think he
Now,
looks like the Cupid doll, if anyone remembers those.
Oh my God, he does. Oh my God. Okay. Now,
Super sexy.
Engelman's first murder involved his first wife, Edna Ruth Bell. Now, Bell was a student teacher who had married Engelman in 1953 at the age of 19. He was 26 at the time. Guys, when I first saw that, I started counting. I'm like, okay, that's not that weird.
I mean, look at her though.
But she looks like, just the plain, she just looks like the women of the times.
Yes.
I guess. Now, she got smart and they were divorced after less than 3 years. But Engelman continued to support Edna financially and gave her dental care and continued having sex with her for years. Oh, lucky Edna.
What a privilege.
I just got another weather alert. Okay. Neither of them stayed single for long. Engelman married Etta G. Van Hest in 1956, and Edna Ruth married a man named James Bullock in 1958. But we know who she was still having sex with. Now, Bullock was a 27-year-old clerk for Union Electric Company of Missouri and a part-time accounting student. And surprise, guys, are you ready? He was a patient of Engleman. After less than 6 months of marriage, on December 17th, 1958, Bullock was shot dead in Forest Park outside of the St. Louis Art Museum.
Okay. Sorry, before we continue, though, we have to address St. Louis.
I
This
know.
is a this is a Chapel Hill moment.
It's St. Louis, isn't it?
It's St. Louis.
Oh, it is St. Louis?
I mean, if you're Judy Garland, you can get away with St. Louis. Yeah.
I always thought it was St. Louis.
No, it's St. Louis.
It's not St. Louise?
I mean, if you're French,
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
How'd I do? St. Louis.
You did perfect. babe.
Okay. And that is a beautiful art museum.
So, yeah, I spent a lot of time at that art museum.
What is
This
on the
one-
statue? The person riding a horse?
Oh, that's St. Louis.
Okay, so St. Louis is real, unlike the Three Musketeers.
Well, I mean, he's a saint. So, I don't know how
But he's real,
I mean,
right?
he's based I assume he's based on a real person. How's that? I don't
Okay,
know if all the
thank you.
stories are real, and I don't know the stories, to be honest.
Okay.
But like I
mean-
said, I'm obsessed with this art museum. Every time I go to St. Louis, I go to this art museum. It is in Forest Park. For those unfamiliar with St. Louis, Forest Park is where the World's Fair was in 1904, which is Meet Me in St. Louis, right? It's
Now,
huge.
it has the gold, or not the golden arch, but it has the big arch, right?
It does have the arch. The arch was not around yet.
Okay.
The arch is from the
Just
60s.
making sure
But
I'm in the right state.
don't worry, the arch is going to show up. But while we're talking about Forest Park, it is huge. It's gorgeous. It's filled with historic buildings from the World's Fair that have been repurposed into museums. A lot of them are free. There's a free, awesome zoo where you can see
It's free?
that adorable baby elephant named Jet.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
So
I
it's
love
this
elephants.
park is also across the street from Washington University. So
Look at
Engleman knew
that
it well. I knew it well. Also, enjoy that baby elephant while you can, because there's not
I
going to be a lot of cute in this story and not a lot of relationships that's functional.
If I could own any animal in the world I wanted, it would be an elephant.
Well, I did spend some time watching videos of Jet this week,
I
doing
wanted
this really
to
hard
raise
research.
money to go work. If you pay $3,000, you can go to Africa and volunteer for 14 days with the elephant refugee place. And you get to bathe them and help with all the babies. And sometimes they have to be bottle fed.
Well,
Doesn't that just sound like heaven? But you
that
have to
sounds
sleep
like heaven.
outside and you just got to make sure that tigers and lions don't eat you. But other than that, it's great.
See, I would want to hang out with the tigers and lions more.
Yeah, they'll eat you.
I
No.
like the big cats. They're just like cats, but big. And my cat would totally kill me if she could, probably. So,
Probably. I mean, you have to worry about the elephants sitting on you, I hear.
they don't know their strength.
They don't know. So Bullock was shot in the park. And guys, Edna Ruth collected $64,000 in life insurance from several different policies. Guys, that's equivalent to about $708,000 today. That's a lot of money.
That is.
Now, she invested $20,000 of her new fortune into Engleman's new business. Now, remind you, they are divorced, people. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my ex-husband's, I couldn't even get child support. Much less. That's okay. Now,
Did you try entering a murder scheme with him?
maybe that's what I should have done.
I think that's what you missed.
Yeah, but now she invested 20,000 of her new fortune into his new business. Okay. His new business was the Pacific Drag Strip. I mean, let's, yeah.
So
Now,
this graph's going to get more interesting. We're going to track
oh yeah, it's
everyone's monetary gains here.
yeah, look at that.
Looks pretty
Now,
boring now.
this caught the attention of investigators, but Engelman was able to provide an alibi. Okay. They also looked into Ruth, noting that she had lied on her marriage license application, denying having been previously married. Guys, they used to ask you if you'd been married before. Wow. Okay.
I mean, they ask you some weird questions from what I hear.
I mean, back then, I think you had to do like blood tests and stuff to get married.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah. Now,
I don't know.
as they
Not
looked at
married.
her closer, she found that her exploits in local bars were reportedly legendary, but they stopped looking into Edna Ruth after getting bad press for harsh treatment of a grieving widow. Clutch my pearls. Now, both Edna Ruth and Engelman denied involvement in the murder at the time. And guys, no one was ever charged with Bullock's killing.
So at this point, Engelman is married to Ida, and he got all the money from Edna, which is one letter off from Ida.
Makes it
Super
easier when you holler
easy,
out something, right?
I guess. Doesn't make it easier for us. But so he got all this money to put into his new business, the Pacific Drag Strip, which was a half-mile drag racing strip south of Pacific, Missouri, just west of St. Louis. That's around where Six Flags is now. Strangely enough, the strip was built about an eighth of a mile from a secret anti-aircraft missile base. It was supposed to be a secret, but obviously the drag racing crowd knew, and the secret was out. I also never really thought that building half a mile line of pavement in the middle of nowhere was like a business venture, but I guess these were simpler times.
Yeah. I will tell you when I first read that, I was like, what? What? I mean, I was like, wow, I am so out of the loop now.
I had to look up what it was, and then now it's just like a normal street in a neighborhood, like a small street in a neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Sammy Sunshine mentioned the lip necklace. Guys, there's teeth on it.
It's my grill.
That's her
They're like
grill.
rhinestone teeth. I got it at Goodwill.
Yeah, just make sure you don't go and let the dentist work on them, okay?
I'd rather the dentist work on that than what's actually going on.
Now, one of the men building the drag strip was Eric Frey, who also just happened to be married to one of Engelman's ex girlfriends, Sandy Frey. Now, 6 weeks after opening the drag strip on September 26, 1963, Eric Frey was found dead in the bottom of a well on the track property with a large amount of dynamite because one falls accidentally down the well with dynamite, right? Engelman had been on site and said that both men had been using dynamite to clear abandoned cisterns, and Frey's dynamite detonated unexpectedly. The death was ruled as accidental, despite Frey's head sustaining multiple injuries. Okay,
He tried.
he tried.
So Eric Frey's wife, Sandy, received $25,000 in life insurance and gave $16,000 to Engelman as another investment in the drag strip. Now that is over half of the money she made, quote
How
unquote.
much money does it cost to run a drag strip?
Apparently more than this, because unfortunately for Engelman and his freshly widowed friends, the Pacific drag strip was bankrupt in less than a year.
Because who was going to said drag strip?
I mean, somebody ended up taking it over after the fact, and it was called the Pacific Raceway, and there's a bunch of pictures from it, so I think there was a market for it. It just I don't really know how you have a drag strip when you're also a full-time dentist in St. Louis, but
Yeah. Okay.
So at this point, Engleman no longer living that drag life. Eventually, he and Ida got divorced, but he was never single for long. So he married his third wife, Ruth Jolly, in April of 1967. A decade passed without any known killings.
I mean, at least he went for different name and didn't go for like Eve or
Well,
Eva.
yeah, but Edna's middle name was Ruth,
That's true.
right? Edna
Jesus.
Ruth. So it's like, I think he's maybe hung up on Edna, but
You think? Now, at
her
some
bar
point,
exploits were legendary.
yeah, that's true. At some point during the 70s, Engelman hired Carmen Miranda as a dental hygienist in training. Not that Carmen Miranda. Okay? Not that one. Not that one. But because I'm pretty sure wearing a fruit hat while performing a dental exam is probably a choking hazard, guys. Let's be real. Okay? Now, this Carmen was a 20-year-old from the neighborhood, and her brother Nick had also worked for Engelman. Engelman had provided her family, where she was one of 8 children, with financial aid and gifts of much needed clothing, like coats in the winter. Now, as a result of being a father figure to her, Carmen trusted him. Okay. He was known to have had multiple affairs over the years, and his wife Ruth believed her husband was having an affair with Carmen. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time a doctor sleeps with an assistant. Let's just be honest. Now, Engelman trained Carmen in dentistry skills she would need as a hygienist, such as teeth cleaning, taking x-rays, etc. God, that freaks me out. He also suggested another way to make some money. She should marry some unfortunate man, insure him, and let Engelman kill him for the insurance money. He told her that he had killed Eric Frey for insurance money, and guess what? It worked out just fine.
So after working for Engelman for 4 years and finding employment with another dentist on the recommendation of Engelman, Carmen married electrician Peter Halm. Peter and Carmen had gone to high school together and reconnected later, dating
Oh,
for less than a year before marrying. And Peter was also a patient of Dr. Engelman's. Carmen and Peter's whirlwind romance ended on September 5th, 1976. It was Labor Day weekend, and the couple drove out to Pacific, Missouri, close to that drag strip, to hike near old mining caves. Carmen later told the police that after they began their hike, she returned to the car for her purse, which, as Lady in Gray pointed out in her extensive research for this episode, is a red flag because who takes a purse on a hike? Carmen said that as she walked back towards home, he was shot twice in the back.
okay. I take a purse when I go hiking, Lady in Gray, so I
Like,
don't know if it's a red flag.
like a
I
real hike, though? What kind
like
of hike
if
you
we
talking
go
about?
hiking, I take, and maybe you don't call it a purse, but I take
Casserole.
everything out of my purse and I put it in my little fanny pouch.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
Okay,
fine.
is that okay?
We're talking like
The
purse.
big purse, the purse. Okay, now I
Or
don't do
even,
that.
like, you want a fanny pack, you want a little backpack or something,
Okay,
ideally, right?
okay. Now, police investigators briefly considered that Hom could have been killed due to mob involvement. Let me see if I can say it right. Since St. Louis, did I do it right?
You
labor
did.
unions, like the one Peter was a member of, were infiltrated by mobsters at the time. It was quickly determined that Halm had zero ties to organized crime. Okay. Further inspection of the crime scene included interesting findings. Okay. Now, aluminum cans hanging from nearby trees. Okay. A large X made from duct tape on a tree near where Ham had been standing. A 6 millimeter rifle with the scope was found close by under some scattered leaves. And 50 feet away from where Helm was shot, two unspent 6 millimeter rounds and a fifth of Boone's Farm wine were found. Where's that
And we're
Boone Farm?
back. We're back. That's why I'm drinking this swill. It actually
I
doesn't taste
mean,
that bad.
am I the only person that's hung cans from a tree for target practice?
I
Anybody
always
else done
just
that?
have set them on things.
We set them too, but when you get past that, my dad thought you should be able to, because when you miss, it makes them swing and it's like a moving target.
I would, when we would go camping, I would hold one in my hand and let my friends shoot it in my hand to like shotgun it.
With, okay, are you talking like a BB gun or a pellet
Yes,
gun? Because
yes,
you,
a BB gun, a
okay,
BB gun, not
I
a
was like going,
shotgun.
girl, we got to talk.
A BB gun, and I only trusted one person to do it. I did not let her husband do it. I was like, "No,
I would
she's
not
got the
trust
aim." That's it.
anyone. And Buffy, yes, aluminum cans hanging from a tree is a redneck wind chime, but it's also great for practice. Okay. Now, at first, it looked like target practice had turned deadly, but investigators quickly determined that the whole scene didn't quite add up. Guys, the rifle had a scope, but it was only 50 feet from the target. And if you don't know anything about guns, you don't use a scope when it's that close. You just don't.
So Carmen received $60,000 in life insurance proceeds. Her brother Nick withdrew $10,000 from that, which he promptly paid to his dentist, Glennon Engleman. Engleman then gave it to his ex-wife Edna in $100 bills, and she converted that cash into a certificate of deposits or CD savings account. Seems totally above board, that whole process. Very direct. Eventually, the investigators did turn their attention to Engleman, who they said to be evasive. They also noticed that they thought he was enjoying a game he was playing. However, it would be years before he was charged for this murder, and 4 more lives would be lost by then, unfortunately.
I mean, let's look at this graph, guys. Yeah. Now, just over a year after the death of Peter, and about 40 minutes northeast of St. Louis, a married couple were murdered. On November 3rd, 1977, Arthur Goosewell, age 61, was shot to death, and his wife, Vernita, age 55, was fatally bludgeoned in their farmhouse in Edwardsville, Illinois. Guys, I've never heard the name Vernita before until this case.
I love it.
I love it, but
It's
I'm
really
like,
cute.
I have never heard it. Now, their son Ronald was the heir to their fortune and inherited half of their farm as well. And it surely was a little consolation to Ronald after losing his parents, but it was more than enough for himself and his wife, Barbara Jean Boyle, to live comfortably. Now, guys, in another tragic turn for the Goosewell family, Ronald was killed less than 2 years later on March 31st, 1979. Guys, he's a cutie. Look at him. He's a cutie, okay? Now, his body was found 4 days later in a car parked at an East St. Louis motel. Guys, every time I have to say St. Louis, I panic, okay?
Got it.
He had been shot and bludgeoned. The police had already been to the Goosewell home on a missing persons call. When they had arrived at the home, they found Barbara hosing out their garage. Now, at the funeral, Prosecutor Don Weber recalled her discarding an empty Pepsi can on Ronald's casket. Who does that? Who does that?
No,
Now,
I
it would
hope.
soon be discovered that Ronald had been killed at home, and forensic testing would show residue of blood everywhere in the garage. So, guys, one guess as to where Barbara Boyle had her teeth cleaned.
That's right. Before marrying Ronald Goosewell, Barbara Boyle had been knocking the boots with our least favorite dentist. But obviously, Engelman was evolving in his methods, killing the older generation of a family to eventually claim more insurance money. Barbara received $340,000 in life insurance proceeds, which is about $1.5 million today. And that is before she received his parents' estate. She actually tried to take out more insurance on her husband, but after his death, a handwriting expert found that she'd forged his name on multiple documents. Now, after another change to note was that Engelman did not act alone. A man named Robert Handy was charged as acting as an accomplice in the 3 Goosewell murders and served 14 years in prison for his involvement. He later testified that both he and Engelman ambushed Ronald Goosewell in his garage, dragged him to a car, and dumped him at a motel with condoms in his pocket to, quote, make it look like it was a sex killing or something or other, robbery and a sex thing.
Because if
Pisses
it's
me
a
off.
robbery sex thing, you bludgeon them and shoot them?
I mean, I understand that they're trying to set some sort of scene, but it's, they're already killing this guy and they're going to try to like hurt his
Yeah.
reputation as well, like is the way I take it. Like,
Yeah, I
screw you
guess.
guys.
Now, Barbara paid off a federal tax lien for Engelman, paying just under $14,000 to settle his debt. Now, Andy has stated that he made no money from the murders. SCBS. That's just me. Now, after 5 years later in 1984, Barbara was also arrested for the 3 murders. Okay. She was apprehended in Orlando. And no, she was not at Disney World, but she had a passport and a car full of luggage in the company of her 2 children from a previous marriage and a male friend. Now, authorities suspected she was trying to flee to Switzerland. I don't know what. Oh, gosh.
How do you solve a problem like our dentist? Sorry, I couldn't resist a little
Mm.
Sound of Music. I also call shenanigans on the not at Disney thing because she's in Orlando in 1984. Like, she got to go to Epcot, right?
I was to say, I can't go there and not go to Disney. I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to get married there,
At
so
least go to Gatorland or whatever.
I don't know if y'all can hear the cat screaming in the background. If you can, I am so sorry. My mother-in-law's cat is senile and she screams. She's like 18 or something. So, my apologies.
Well, you know what? She's earned the right. I don't hear her, for the record.
Yeah, well, the cat can shut the door. Now, at trial, prosecutors claimed that she and Engelman plotted for her to marry someone wealthy and then killed him for his inheritance and life insurance. Now, she was acquitted for the murder of her in laws, but found guilty for the murder of her husband, Ronald, receiving a sentence of 50 years. Guys, Barbara served half of her sentence and was paroled in 2009. Okay, I just have to say, how could she be acquitted for the murder of his parents? One was bludgeoned and one was shot. And then he was bludgeoned and shot. It was the same method, same.
From what I read, I don't think they had any evidence.
Do you need evidence? Karen Reed's on trial with no evidence.
I want you to need evidence.
I mean, I
Not that
need
I have
evidence.
all this love for Barbara, but
Yeah.
I think they could clearly tie her to, she was hosing out the garage, cleaning up the crime scene for Ronald's,
Yeah.
uh, paying out money for it. But I mean, I think she definitely was part of killing his parents. But
Because you had to have killed the parents before the husband, or you wouldn't get the house. I mean, okay. This is why I am not an attorney or a cop. So,
well, I mean, some of the stuff, I wonder how technology, like how it would be different now with today's
oh yeah,
technology.
back
Right.
then, I mean, I want to say this was in 84. In 86, I went down to the DMV in Texas with one of my older friends' birth certificates and told him I lost my driver's license and renewed it because she was 21. She was 5'3", blonde hair, blue eyes. I 5'11", brown hair and brown eyes, and they gave me a driver's license. They didn't have the technology back then for that, so I'm gonna just say they didn't have the technology.
I mean, the fact that he keeps popping up in all these murders, like
Yeah.
I mean, this one he's a little further off, I guess, but he
Yeah.
wasn't married to the wife ever. But um, sorry. um, so still not arrested. Engelman was able to continue on his normal life working as a dentist. Despite all of his ill-gotten monetary gains, he owed $14,000 to Sophie Barrera, the owner of the South St. Louis Dental Laboratory. Her company provided crowns, bridges, dentures, and other, like, I don't know what to call them, dental accessories.
Dental things.
Uh, she provided them to Engelman and other local dentists. After failing to pay for her services, Sophie filed a default inquiry against Dr. Engelman on March 9th, 1979. So on March 20th, 1979, 11 days before the murder of Ronald Guzwell, she found a bag of dynamite that had been left against her home garage. The bag was partially open and it was raining, so it did not fully detonate. No one was hurt, but if it had all detonated, it would have destroyed half of the garage and Sophie would have been killed. So Sophie immediately suspected Engelman as the bomber.
I mean, wow. So, is this how the police caught our deadly dentist? Guys, I'm gonna just tell you, no, just no. Sophia told her lawyer what had happened, and they decided that maybe they should try to settle rather than sue. Okay. But Glenn didn't settle, and the civil suit was scheduled for trial the week of January 21st, 1980. Okay. Now, and life carried on for Sophia, being a girl boss who was said to truly enjoy both her profession and her beautiful grandchildren. That is so sweet. And then on January 14th, 1980, Sophia was taken from her family when her car exploded outside of her dental lab. I mean, that's just, I mean, yeah. Sergeant Thomas Casey of the St. Louis Bomb and Arson Squad later said that Barrera had been dead before first responders arrived and that the bomb had been placed under the front of her 1975 Ford Pinto. In her office, they found a handwritten police emergency phone number next to her phone. Her son said she always thought she would go that way because of what happened a long time ago. Her ex husband said that she received obscene phone calls twice a week. And guys, a neighbor described her as the greatest lady you ever wanted to meet. Guys, to own a business at that day and time as a woman, that is an accomplishment.
She owned it with her ex-husband, or she owned it with her husband. They got divorced.
And she kept it.
He still worked there, but he gave his interest in it to their kid, and then the kid gave it back to her, so she had the whole business. And then
But
she and her husband worked like happily together,
so
like no problems. She sounds really like a really nice, even keel lady who is just trying to get her $14,000. Um, why did Engelman think he could get away with this? Right? Uh,
because he's gotten away with a lot of murders.
he's gotten away with murders, but he had a plan here. During the 70s and 80s, St. Louis, Missouri was considered the unofficial murder capital of the world, of the country.
Oh,
Sorry,
wow.
not the world.
I was like going,
Maybe. Couldn't tell you. Uh, with a decades-long war between the Michaels and Leisure family, like mob families,
mm-hmm.
and 3 or 4 car bombings within a 2 to 3 year period in the late 70s. So mafia wars continued well into the 80s with bombings and other murders. So car bombs had been the St. Louis mob's weapon of choice and were often in the news. And Engelman thought he could like pin Barrera's death on the mafia. But as I think is obvious to all of us at this point in the story, Engelman is kind of becoming careless. He'd gotten away with murder many times before, and he's kind of seemingly becoming arrogant to a fault. Uh, so while he started out killing people who were at least 1 degree away from him, leaving no physical proof or witnesses, he ended up killing Barrera, a person, and bringing legal action against him to settle a debt he didn't want to pay, most likely because he couldn't. But he basically killed this woman to save himself $14,000. So,
Okay. I love Horseshoe Jimmy. I love that name. I'm going to just say Horseshoe Jimmy. Look at this here, this graph. Yeah. I'm going to say Lady in Gray is right. At this point, he thought he was invincible. He started getting cocky.
yeah.
He started getting cocky. So, guys, as we all can figure out, there were several problems with his plan. Okay. Sophia Barrera had no ties to the mob. Okay. The bomb itself was nothing like the bombs used in the mob bombings. It was simple and crude. Okay. There's also the fact that, in the very least, her son and lawyer knew of the outstanding debt, scheduled civil suit, and that she believed Engelman had already bombed her the previous year. I mean, yeah,
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
If somebody tried to bomb me, I'd be
Mhm.
telling freaking everybody. I'd be shouting it from the top of the Gateway Arch.
Oh, is that what it's called? The Gateway Arch. Okay.
Gateway Arch.
Now,
I'd be
I
sorry,
have
you
a
want to know about the Gateway Arch?
question. There it is. So, is that arch? I think I know the answer to this. Does that split St. Louis, Kansas, and St. Louis, Missouri? Is that why it's called the Gateway?
No. No, I think you're
Damn
thinking
it.
of Kansas City.
And there's
Has
St.
Kansas City's in both states. St. Louis is by Illinois.
Oh my God, I should not do gummies and drink.
That's just on the Mississippi River. It's the gateway to the West. It was built in the 60s by uh,
Sammy, just tell
uh,
me I'm pretty again, please. Just say, "Oh, aren't you so pretty?"
it's the same guy that built the Pan Am building at JFK airport. It's like a very mod architect who I think is Israeli, but
Yeah.
I love it. I'm obsessed with it. If
My husband is rolling his eyes in the other room. He's like, "What is wrong with you today?"
well, so I would be shouting it from the top of the Gateway Arch. I'd be shouting it from the top of the giant Amico sign.
Amico?
And what else is cool in St. Louis? I'd be shouting it from the stables of the Anheuser-Busch Clydesdales.
Oh, I
Oops.
love the Clydesdales.
I brought it back to cute animals again.
I love it. So where I lived in Houston, I lived by the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. And on the side of the building in the 70s and 80s, they had the big Anheuser Eagle up
Mhm.
there, and it was like a neon sign, and it would
Yeah.
flash and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
We had one in
underneath
St.
it,
Louis.
they would bring the Clydesdales once a year, and you could go and see them. So while your parents were checking out the brewery, the kids could go see the Clydesdales. And I will tell you, the first time I saw one, I was shocked because they were so freaking big. I had no idea. I remember being this little girl going, it was like a giant.
They are huge, and I
They're
love them. And yeah,
beautiful.
St. Louis is the home of Anheuser-Busch. We've also got one of those signs. I love how I'm saying we, like I live there. I don't. I haven't lived there in a
So
very
y'all had
long
one too.
time.
Is it still there? They got rid of ours because it cost too much money.
The sign, as far as I know, it's still there. It was on the highway where the highway split. So it wasn't like right on one of their properties. It was more
Yeah.
like a
This was on the
vintage
top of the
ad.
building
But
off
then they
of
also had this farm where you could go meet the Clydesdales, and then you could also like bottle feed baby goats and lambs and
you're what?
things you do on the daily, but it's more special for me.
I love that. And just if anybody has advice, if you go over to our Discord on the courtyard in the general, I put pictures of the two twin goats that were born, and my goat person's trying to talk me into taking both of them because she doesn't want to split them up because they were twins. And I need help convincing Double H. Okay. Now that we're talking about animals. So I'm going to say, well, shouting around town, or more likely not, it wasn't a surprise when our son, Frederick, named Engelman as suspect number one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, Glennon Edward Engelman, DDS, was arrested on February 24th, 1980, not for the car bombing, but guys, for the 1976 murder of Peter Hom. Look at that. Look at that little hair. He's got like the Oompa Loompa little hair.
He's got a little Cupid doll hair.
Yeah,
Like a little baby doll. It just has one little curl.
I know we shouldn't laugh at people, but
I
we
have a
can
very
laugh at
round
him.
face. I can make fun of him.
I'm sorry, he's a PO. I can make fun of
Also, I've
him.
never murdered anyone, so I can make fun
Exactly.
of him.
So eventually, Engelman's ex wife, Ruth, had agreed to cooperate with authorities. She told them he had confessed on to multiple murders, but she'd been too afraid to go to the police. She, oh my God, does have Burgess hair. Okay.
Lady, too good.
I mean, I told Double H last night, why didn't Burgess just shave off that little patch? Just shave it off
On the
and
hair, on
go,
the chin,
yeah, just,
which
yeah,
patch?
the one on top of his head. Yeah. But she said she was too scared to go to the police. So she was especially unsettled at his pride and his ability to murder without remorse. Now, authorities knew she wouldn't be able to testify against him due to spousal privilege, so they put listening devices all over her home, including the bedroom. And she also agreed to wear a wire, hopefully not in the bedroom.
Well, it shouldn't have to if there's mics in there, right?
Yeah.
So she made numerous attempts to get him to make an admission, but he didn't. Even after sex, he only made regular pillow talk, which I don't want to imagine, but here we are.
Mm.
Eventually, eventually they were in a restaurant in public with Ruth wearing a wire, and he made incriminating statements that linked him to several murders, including Peter Holm. Included in these statements was his acknowledgement of the $10,000 that he had given to his ex-wife after the 1976 murder. So the trial began on August 4th, 1980. In exchange for total immunity for their roles as accomplices, Edwife Edna Engelman, Carmen Miranda Halm, and Nick Miranda all testified against Engelman, telling their sides of the Peter Halm murder and insurance scheme. Carmen also testified about the Eric Frey murder, as described in detail by Engelman as evidence of a common scheme. Engelman was found guilty of the murder of Peter Halm and sentenced to 50 years without parole.
Now, during the trial, hoping for leniency, Engelman confessed to the murders of James Bullock, Eric Frey, and the Guzwell family. He admitted to hitting Eric Frey with a rock, pushing him down the cistern, and throwing in dynamite to make it look like an accident. Now, he also provided details on how he and Barbara Boyle chose Ronald Guzwell for his money, murdered his parents, and eventually murdered Ronald. Now, accomplice Robert Handy testified against Engelman about these crimes. Now, guys, I am not sure what the hell this man was thinking and why he thought this would grant him leniency. Okay. Now, it did eventually end up earning him 3 life sentences from the state of Illinois. Okay. Now, I am glad that he confessed for the sake of the family. They deserved answers. But, guys, the horrific violence he inflicted on these people certainly do not inspire leniency. And I'm going to just tell you the death penalty, probably, in my opinion, if they had the evidence now. But Peter Ham wasn't the only victim who found some sort of justice thanks to the recordings made with the help of Ruth. The police also had an admission to the bombing of Sophia Barara on tape. Another trial began November 12th, 1980, but just after the jury was seated, Engelman's lawyer moved for a mistrial. He then tried to say that trying him again would be double jeopardy. And guys, that's not how that works. Okay? I don't know if you know how double jeopardy works, but that's not how it works. Okay? Now, he was eventually sentenced to life in prison as the jury couldn't come to a unanimous decision on the death penalty. As Lama would say, the fact that 12 people were able to even come up with a guilty verdict in itself is a miracle, right? Okay. Now, a federal court tacked on another 60 years for charges involving mail fraud in damaging a vehicle in interstate commerce by means of an explosion.
I
I
didn't know that was a federal
and I
crime.
was like, why is that a federal crime?
And it wasn't on an interstate
I know. So I'm like,
highway. So I don't
now
know.
he
But
made multiple attempts to appeal, but to no avail. Now, I also have a problem with immunity with that many people when you've got him on audio.
yeah, that is, I mean, and Edna is so, yeah. The
I
Hall, Carmen and her brother were
Yeah.
involved in the one murder, and that is awful. And then Edna was involved in multiple, or like in one way or
Mhm.
another. Um, yeah, they shouldn't have had immunity, but I don't know. Times were different, I guess.
I guess.
So we're going to take a look at what people back then had to say about Engelman, try to understand him a little better. The prosecutor who sent him to prison was Gordon Ankney, who is still practicing law in St. Louis. He had an interesting theory as to why Engelman did what he did. Engelman claimed he committed murder for money, but as Ankney said, Engelman never did it for enough to make it worthwhile. He related homicidal intimacy with sexual intimacy. There was almost a sexual excitement about killing. He's said to have quite a sexual drive. He has a very macho image of himself. And as much as I
Okay.
don't like hearing about his sexual drive. Most of that tracks for me because he started out taking about half of the widow's insurance earnings and
Mhm.
soon enough was making a tiny percentage uh, while he got deeper and deeper in debt. So I mean, look at this graph. I mean, I know Barbara went to jail, so
Where
I
was he
hope
spending the money? Because he wasn't paying his bills.
he wasn't paying his bills. Well, he wasn't taking that much money. He's
I was
running a
doing this.
business the whole time. He's got a wife and child to support because we
I
didn't really
know, but he
talk
was
about
doing
the
all
fact
that
he has a
free
child.
good stuff.
And then yeah, he's spending all this money to like groom new accomplices the whole
Yeah.
time. So uh and like look good. He's all about the image. So I do think it wasn't about the money. I think it was about kind of power he had over people. And then, as far as the sexual part goes, I do think that kind of like got him off in a way. Like that was what was important to him. Like a fellow criminal said that the dentist always planned his crimes from the witness stand backwards, which, like, given some of the sloppiness we've talked about tonight between the crimes and the
Yeah.
trials, I don't know that I agree with that, but I think he definitely would tell it that way to somebody.
Yeah. I'm gonna just say, this man, I do not wanna think about his sexual powers and stuff. I just yeah, I could live without that, but from what we've learned about Engelman, it should be no surprise, guys, that he kept running his mouth once convicted. So let's hear about him from the horse's plaque-free mouth, okay? It takes a certain kind of person to be able to kill another human being. Engelman once told a reporter, I learned early in life that I possessed a special talent. I mean, the fact that anyone's boasting, but yes, he later boasted this. I can kill in cold blood without any remorse. Engelman enjoyed it when his crimes went unsolved. He said, I like to kill, he admitted later. It sets a man apart from his fellow man if he can kill. What the F? Okay? I'm gonna look at that. Look at this person.
I mean, I feel like he's talking like he's like Scar in The Lion King, like
I
like
don't know.
he's the predator here, and it's like, no, you are actually a Cupid doll.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Now, when his wife Ruth pressed him for a reason for his murderous ways, Engelman replied, money, 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 money. And guys, I don't want to see this production of Cabaret. Okay. I don't. Okay. He also enjoyed his local notoriety, saying, I'm a celebrity, Jesse James, the Dalton game, and Dr. Engelman. No, dude, you're a Cupid doll. Okay. You're a Cupid doll. I mean, yeah, you're just a Cupid doll. Okay. So, no remorse, a sense of pride in his work, and a bizarre delusion of the Old West. His true legacy, sadly, was more of a can you believe that Dennis was a serial killer vibe? Okay. As well as a book titled Appointment for Murder and a horror movie called The Dentist. Okay. Guys, and of course, the irreversible impact he had on the family and friends of his victims. Because, guys, he wasn't a good guy.
I mean, yeah, that's the true legacy. I mean, people talk about him, but like the most lasting impact was what he took from people, right? Like most murderers.
Can I
Um,
just say this dentist, it's been 6 months, time for your checkup, is the most horrific visual. I would rather see the
girl.
lady in the
Oh.
casket with the dead body from last time of llama. I don't need to
Um,
see this.
so you should never Google the cover of The Dentist 2 then, because it's much worse. Um, but I will say The Dentist, the movie, has nothing to do with this. It's everything says it is about this guy. The only thing in common is that there's a dentist.
I'm not watching
Everything
it.
happens
Nope.
in the dental office,
Nope.
like to random patients.
Nope.
There's a lot of opera.
Okay. I
There's
don't like
implant
spiders,
stuff.
so I don't watch arachnophobia. I don't like dentists, so I'm not watching the dentist. Llama, you better watch it, or I'm going to pull out some Frenchies for you. And only our
What are you
members who
threatening
watched
Llama about?
our members only last night, then you will know why I will be bringing Frenchies out. Okay?
You're gonna
Frenchies
French
is
Llama?
mustard.
Oh, okay, that's French's.
Frenchies, it's Frenchies.
All right, St. Louise.
As a little girl, it was called Frenchies. That was my grandfather's name. And to try to get us to eat it, they would say, because we're Cajun, hey, here is Frenchie Pawpaw's special mustard for you. It's Frenchies. Okay? I don't eat it, so it doesn't matter what it is.
I don't
But
wanna.
that was his thing. It was Frenchies. I also have an Uncle T-Bone and a Teat and a Slim, and that's
No,
their real
this isn't
names.
fair. This is
That's
not
their
fair
real
because
names.
I can't make fun of your deceased family, but you
Oh,
keep
yes, you
throwing out
can.
these names.
They were missing
Frenchie
their
and
teeth.
Teat and
They
T-Bone?
were Teat and Slim are both still alive. Uncle T-Bone died, and they were
May he
missing their
rest.
teeth. They wore overalls, and they played with the gators in the bayou there in Louisiana. It's okay.
Uncle
And I came out
Frenchie
somewhat normal.
Uncle Frenchie was in Louisiana.
He was my grandfather. He was my
Grandfather
pa.
Frenchie.
He was Pa Frenchie.
He didn't buy French's mustard,
I
right?
don't want to know what was in that yellow bottle, but it was called Frenchie's, according to him. Scorpion has an Uncle T-Bone. Is that their real name or their nickname?
Are y'all
Because this
related?
was what? Yes, that is their real name on their birth certificates. If you want me to show you my ancestry tree thing, it's their real name.
I'm trying to think of something to offer to this table, but my family's got pretty boring names.
It's what happens when you take an Hebert family, a Boudreaux family, and you just mix it all together. We're probably all related.
I do
okay.
love that you got some Hebert in there.
That's my maiden name. I am an Hebert. I am Teri Lynn Hebert.
I love the name Hebert. So
I just made the mistake of Googling the dentist too.
Don't look at the dentist. I told you, you can't handle this. It's triple diamond.
Okay. Okay, we're just going to say we can only hope that he didn't get to enjoy his fame too much from prison before dying of diabetes complications in 1999 in the Jefferson City Correctional Center. And guess what? Bye-bye, bitch.
Yeah, like F this guy. Diabetes is a serious issue, but like I'm really glad he died of diabetes in prison of all the ways he could go. Like no one needs to give you any more attention than we're already giving you.
Yeah. I'm going to just tell you, I hated everything about this case, everything about it. It did not help release into any of my dentophobia at all. And the fact that he preyed upon women to get them to marry people. I mean, he must have been a smooth talker, or you didn't need to buy. I'm going to just say he must have been good in the bedroom or something, because it was not his looks.
I mean, it's his hypnotic sexual powers.
Was he part of the Zizian cult?
I don't need him getting mixed up with the Zizians.
I mean, but he's not attractive. He didn't have money to wine and dine them.
He would never live in a box truck.
I
Some
don't
of the
see
like
the attraction. Maybe it was different back then.
I think he made people think he had a lot of money. I like it is wild to me that he was able to talk that many people into being accomplices, but I think that's why he went into debt was like to be the big spender, and he's doing this all to groom people.
Now, I
Um,
will say I loved that he bought coats for the children who were cold. I love that he gave free dental cleanings and stuff,
mhm.
but I will be honest, I would rather you charge them a little something or like the best little whorehouse in Texas, let them bring you chickens or something instead of doing it for free. Instead
All
of
right.
no, but I'm saying he
No,
tried to
it
look like a good guy, but he was really a bad guy.
yeah. There, I mean, you're preying on people in need. You're offering a needed service that's going to improve people's health care. And I assume there's plenty of people he helped that he didn't kill or groom to be part of a murder scheme. But, you
Chickens,
know,
yes. Okay. I
yeah.
live not too far from where the best little whorehouse in Texas was actually. LaGrange, Texas is 20 miles down the road. So, you know what that
That's
movie
weird.
is, right? You know it's real. It's
I
real.
know
It
I didn't
really
know it was
happened.
real. No, I know of the movie.
It
Yes.
is real. It was off of a real these were real people. She owned the chicken ranch. She had working ladies in LaGrange, Texas. It was legal. Marvin Zindler from Houston really exposed it.
Is Chicken Ranch a euphemism?
No, it was a chicken ranch. So and
It was all
the
Chicken Ranch
guys
and
couldn't
like a
pay.
cat ranch?
The guys couldn't pay, so they would pay in chickens.
Well, that's
I mean, in today's time with the cost of eggs, I mean, she probably has $1 million
that's a
dollars.
little demeaning. I don't know.
But
I guess it
it was a
depends.
farm right down the road. They just had a lot of property and the chickens just roamed free and stuff. And then guys couldn't pay for the services, so they just brought more chickens. And it got the name the Chicken Ranch. Before that, it was called Lady Something's Brothel.
I mean, I guess people accept different forms of payment throughout
Did she have
history.
really big tatas? Are we talking about Dolly Parton? She played
Yeah,
in the show. Or are we talking about
the
the
real life
madam?
lady,
You
whoever
know,
she was playing in the movie.
I am going to go Google that real life
Yeah,
Madame of the Chicken Ranch.
tatas. Don't forget
Her
to add
name was
tatas.
Eldon Milton Chadwell. And there is a ZZ Top song about it. So her name was Edna Milton Chadwell. Yes. No, she did. Okay. I don't know how to share my screen. I'm going to just tell you this looks like somebody's mom.
I mean, what? But the tatas. That's what we're
Yeah,
interested
no,
in.
I'm going to just say, looking at this picture, she did not have big tatas.
Okay. All right.
If Amy wants to go find it, she can find it. Just
Yeah.
Google real life
If
Madame of
if
the
you
Chicken
got big
Ranch.
tatas, you can charge a cow.
She did not have big tatas. But so yes, LaGrange, Texas is where that is. And do you see what Llama wants? I want to know, does she wants he owes me a farm of chickens. Is that real chickens or do you want to be a madam?
We're talking about fees for
Happen?
transactions, I
I
think.
go like, what are we talking about here? Yeah, I'm
Um,
just trying to make light heart because this guy got away with so much. And the fact that
yeah,
he manipulated these women into doing that for him.
yeah. And yeah, I thought that the dental aspect was going to be what grossed me out, but it was really just
It was
this particular dentist that grossed me out.
yeah.
Another lesson I learned tonight is probably don't marry people you just started dating. I mean, if that needs to be said. I know times were different again, but a lot of these,
What about moving in with them?
I mean,
I
as
met
far as
Double
this
H
story goes, that's different because
on
it
August
depends on the
30th,
insurance, right?
and we moved in together Thanksgiving.
When did you get married?
Oh, we didn't get married for 2 years.
And did you take out copious amounts of life insurance, like, very early in your relationship?
No, I
Because
didn't.
that's the problem I'm having here is,
I mean, I
uh
will tell you when I saw the title, I still don't know who recommended this. I'm gonna just go on a limb and say it had to have been my fabulous JT, because I can guarantee you I did not pick anything that had to do with the dentist. I was so worried when he picked it that he was gonna kill people while they were in the dentist chair.
well, that's why you can't watch that movie, The Dentist.
Yeah, I'm not watching that, and we're not even gonna tell Double H about it because he'll be like, "Oh, let's watch this."
Yeah.
But that's what I thought it was gonna be, or I thought he was gonna be a petty dentist who then killed his victims. A pedophile dentist.
Oh, okay. I was
Sorry, we call
like
them petties.
mani-pedi dentist all in one?
No, petty
Sounds
dentist.
disgusting. Um, yeah. No,
He
I
didn't
don't
kill anyone, and the only thing he did bad in the dentist practice was groom the girls and not pay his bills and kill people. So
yeah,
none of it was to his
no.
patients. Well, no, he did kill a couple of the
He killed
well,
patients
shit.
after they married other yeah. I mean, he used his dental practice as, like, a tool to bring people to him, so but it could have been a
Yeah,
lot creepier
it could have been.
in the tooth way.
It could
Uh
have.
I will say I did enjoy spending a little time in St. Louis tonight, if you couldn't tell. Um,
It's on my list to places to go. So Double H and I, when we retire, we're getting an RV and then we're going to drive around. St. Louis is one of my first places that I want to
I
go.
I have many more recommendations than I could
Okay.
fit into the story tonight, so,
Just start a
especially if
list.
anyone's going there with kids,
Llama,
let me know.
start a channel on the Discord called St. Louis. Make sure it's spelled and pronounced correctly so she can start putting them in.
I don't know that anyone wants that specific of a Discord channel. Um,
Or we could just put a travel channel with
sure, we could have
recommendations.
threads in there. People who know what's what with certain cities can give their insight. Um, but I do wanna say, while I have a bit of a platform, since I'm
Yes.
just filling in tonight, uh, I do have so much love for St. Louis, and so while I'm here, I wanted to remind everyone that it sustained an enormous amount of storm damage this month.
Oh,
I
shit.
yeah, it was, I just watch the national news every night, but, it was on
I
there for, like,
okay.
a week in
I'm
a
gonna tell
row.
you, that has not made the news here
Oh,
in Texas, and I don't know if it's because we've had some damage. We
yeah.
have not we've seen Oklahoma damage. I did not know that St. Louis had gotten this.
Yeah,
Wow, that is
there's,
awful.
honestly, like, I thought this picture would be good for, like, a larger scale, but the pictures of actual, individual houses are really like, it's just a whole backs of houses just
Was
ripped
it
off. So,
tornadoes?
there's tornadoes, and I think
Yes.
there were, like, 2 days of storms in a row. So, I thought if I was gonna be, you
Yes,
know,
please.
waxing on about how much I love St. Louis tonight, I wanted to bring this up, and I did a little poking around and found a well-reviewed charity that the St. Louis government is directing people to donate to right now.
Okay.
That is the St. Louis Community Foundation. So, no pressure, but if you are in a position to give and you're interested, they could certainly use some help right now. The website is stlgives.org. And if you follow the online donation link, there's an option to donate straight to the Storm Relief Fund. So if you
Okay.
can, I don't, everyone has what they have,
No,
but
didn't I didn't know they had got hit. And I will just tell you, that's what I hate about the news. They pick and choose what
Yes.
they show us. And when you're trying to avoid the political scene, you're not seeing as much news as you normally would. I'm literally
Yeah.
now just watching crime because crime news and puppies because I don't want to see all the other stuff. But thank you for putting that in the chat.
Well, I thought, like I said, I had fun. I mean, this was a gross story, but at the same time, when I
But
read it and saw it was in
yeah,
St. Louis and he went to Wash U, I was like, yeah, I want to do this. Um, I could have talked for hours longer about weird St. Louis stuff. So,
I will tell
yeah.
you, I just remembered why I call it St. Louise. Sex in the City. Carrie Bradshaw had an assistant after she called off her wedding to Mr.
Oh,
Big, and her
yes.
assistant met the guy, and
Jennifer
it was
Hudson.
in St. Louise. She found
Yep.
her love.
Meet me in St. Louis.
Meet me in St. Louis, but her name was what, Louise or something?
Her name was Louise. It was played by Jennifer Hudson. The movie was
Yes,
ridiculous. The password was love.
love. But so
Drives
that's
me
where
drives me insane.
Louise, St.
No one
Louis.
lets you have a password that's 4 letters anymore.
But no, thank you for bringing that because, I mean, being somebody who works in the community emergency response area, guys, you don't realize when things like this happen in communities, a lot of people don't know, and now it's even changed worse, what it takes to get FEMA grants and how much damage there has to be for the community and towns to get money. But guys, the fires that devastated the Bastrop area outside of Austin, I think it was in 2011 or 2012, they just finally got paid in 2020. So if this is happening now, that means they're not going to get any type of government type help to rebuild and all that stuff for years. So anything people can give, and if it's a credible organization like this, it'll go to the people.
I did, I know there's a lot of stuff out there, so I did,
Yeah.
like, check on this,
Yes.
before sharing it. But it
Yeah.
is I mean, I found it first because that's what the, government
Yeah.
response website said to donate to, but it has been vetted.
Yes.
And they do, I mean, there's other charities, Red Cross, United
Red
Way
Cross,
for
it goes
everything
into a
else that's
general
there.
fund, but I think I heard you say this there's a storm response
Well,
place on this one.
honestly, the Red Cross website was insane.
It,
Like, I don't know if there's a problem right now, but I was like, I can't send
yeah.
people to this website
Yeah.
because
Don't. I mean, don't. I mean, like Lady in
yeah.
Gray just was dealing with FEMA is a pain in the ass. People are still waiting from Helene.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
They'll be
it's
waiting.
and now it's gonna get worse,
God,
but
yeah.
no. And Red Cross, I love the Red Cross. They do a lot of good things, but they also pay their people a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
That's why you have to
I can tell you everything we
triple check
do
everything
for
charity-wise.
CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team, we do not get paid. It is all volunteer work, but we still have to go through training and get certified. We don't get a dime. And that's the way it should be. Well, thank you so much for
Okay,
that.
I'm sorry, Savage Cashew.
Oh,
Look.
Savage Cashew.
We all saw the movie. What else were we gonna do? It was the time, right?
Yeah, I
I loved it. Everybody in my movie theater had, like, a million champagne bottles went off when the movie started.
what movie? Oh,
Sex and the
Sex in the
City.
City.
We had Smirnoff whipped cream flavor, my
Oh,
group.
I hosted a party in Las Vegas for friends, and we had a Sex in the City party. And then when the next one came out, I forget which one I did. One in California, and I did one in Brentwood. One in Brentwood, California, and one in Vegas. And we did a contest for who had the best shoes.
Who won?
So,
You
but thank
smiled
you.
like you won.
What?
You
I
smiled like you
I
won that
didn't.
contest.
I didn't. I
No.
didn't. Because let me tell you, they brought out some great shoes. Thank you for co-hosting. I hope you will come back again and
If
do
I
this.
have to,
And I want to challenge everyone who is here watching tonight. Could you maybe email Tara at tcwtmedia.com or Teri at tcwtmedia.com if you have any recommendations for cases you want us to cover? And I'm going to ask, can you maybe send some that aren't quite so awful? No
oh,
necrophiliacs, no dentists. Somebody today mentioned Dr. Death on Couch Court, and I'm adding that to the list because Dr. Death from Dallas, I wouldn't mind covering. But maybe some
you want to
light
get into Dunch?
to what?
Dunch.
Oh, Dunch, yes. I wouldn't mind.
I think you should have Amy as your guest for that one.
Amy
I'm
could do
sorry,
that.
a miss
A miss.
would be a great guest for Dr. Death.
Yeah, guys, let's have to all remember that Teri does have a medical condition that affects her cognitive skills and my speech skills. And sometimes I even say my own last name wrong. It
Is your
happens.
last name Chapel Hill?
No, it is not Chappelle. So, I have a friend that lives in Chapel Hill. And when I sent her the video where it did that, she goes, "If they only knew you." I was like, "Why?" She goes, "Because you used to say it right." I was like, "I know." I said, "But it does sound much more better." Just like Target. Who calls Target Target?
Target.
It's Target. Chapel Hill is Chappelle. I'm not doing anything new to people. Okay?
No.
But thank you so much for joining me tonight and for hating dentists as much as I do, because some people love them. And I love them even though they love it. Oh, yes, we are. God, the facial expressions that me and Llama make are just awful.
It's great.
But
The
next
scale is also great.
Thursday is Wine, Wealth, and Murder. And guys, it is bonkers. I mean, this guy is a piece of work. Luckily, he didn't kill a lot of people. He didn't.
Spoilers.
He didn't kill a lot of people. Okay? Killed some people, but not a lot of them. Oh, Cap'n, you are getting comments that they love your hair color.
Oh, well, thank you. It's called half natural, half not. um,
How long does the pink last?
um, I mean, it's in the conditioner at this point. It
Oh,
won't
is it
last
because I
otherwise.
used to
Yeah.
do mine that way for my birthday month in July? It would last like a week.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm like,
had
that's
pastel
a
hair
lot of
for
money
yeah, for
for a
years.
week.
It's you gotta put it in the conditioner. Um,
Okay, well, you're gonna have to tell me how to do that
yeah, it's easy.
because I plan on having pink hair for the live show in July because it will be birthday month.
Well, that's very exciting.
So,
Shout out to the live show.
yeah,
Also, I wanna say, if you liked tonight's show, be sure to check out the other shows on the channel. Every
yes.
weekday at 8:30 AM, you can watch Couch Court with Llama. We're currently losing our minds watching the Karen Reed retrial. That guy
That
today.
Oh my god.
Can't even.
And the
Can't even talk
fact
about
that
it.
people on X are so convinced Karen Reed is guilty based on the prosecution who rested today. I really want to
Yeah.
sit down and I'm going to talk to Llama. Maybe we should invite some of them on her show. I say we like I'm involved in it, but she should invite them on her show. I would love to hear what part of the evidence they found so credible.
I think in order to have a discussion with one of those people, you would have to have the patience of a Saint Louis.
We would, and we would have an arbitration person. But I mean, I always love to look at both sides. I always love
Yeah.
to hear devil's advocate other so I would like to hear maybe their life experiences made them hear or see something that I didn't. Maybe I have a block on my side and I didn't hear it the same. So I would love to know why they are so convinced because some of them don't even live there.
Oh,
And
no, a
that's the
lot of them
part that
don't.
kills me. And I'm like, why
Mm,
are you so convinced?
it's an interesting case that really, yeah, the whole
I thought she was
internet
guilty.
is talking about, but
I
you
thought
thought
she
she
was
was guilty?
guilty going into the first trial.
Oh,
From what I had read, I thought she was guilty. And then I got to watch, I'd say 60%, and I was like, yeah, she did not. Or if she did, they have not convinced me.
yeah, there's maybe she did, but I haven't seen
Yeah.
any evidence of it, so, it's I just can't I'm not saying she's innocent, I'm saying I would have to
Right.
say not guilty right now.
So, Llama, if you're
Yeah,
listening, I think you need to ask some of those people to come on, but
she's not
level
even on
headed people.
X.
No,
Llama
but I
don't do
mean,
social
oh,
media.
Lady in Gray is all up on X. She could help us find some of these people.
Lure
So
them in.
lure them in. Maybe she should use her hypnotic llama personality.
Okay, I thought you
I
were
didn't
going
say
back
her
to
sexual,
yeah,
I said her.
hypnotic sexual powers.
Yeah.
I don't know. She
And
might
then
have
we
those too.
also have Midday Missing, my show where we
Yes.
cover missing person cases. I will say next week may have an update on a case that we covered. Got some information that a family is getting closer to having, they've been told they'll have results in the next 4 or 5 days on DNA on a body that was found. And they have agreed to come on the show if it is that. So we do possibly have that coming. And as I told them, I hope for their sake, it's not the way they want to have their family member, but it'll stop the every night wondering and
Oh,
it will
yeah.
give them, it's not going to give them closure, but it will at least give them some answers.
Yeah. I mean, it's not closure, but it's like
Answers.
tiny amount of closure maybe of like,
Yeah.
but
They said they would get closure when the person who did
yeah.
it is found, but right
Well,
now, this is being able to say goodbye and be able to lay them to rest
mhm,
and to officially stop the wondering, and then they'll move on to justice.
yeah. Well,
So, we have those shows, but I will tell you, oh, the couch court after dark, after whatever it's called with P. Diddy. Guys, if you haven't gone and watched those videos, it's not live. Llama reads them cold read, and let me tell you, you can hear Llama's facial expressions in her voice. And I know Amy is snipping a lot of it, and there will be more video on a members only with Llama's expressions as she says these things the first time. So check out the other shows on this channel. Thank you all for being with us tonight. Captain, how would you like to close out for your guest appearance tonight?
I just want to say, remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, become a member, and follow the podcast. And thanks for being here. Have fun, make good decisions, and watch for bears.
Okay, did you hear me say that I want to watch the bears who slide down the slides and play in people's pools? Because I would so
I
love
didn't hear
that.
that.
I would so
But
love that.
the other Teri in our group here,
Uh-huh.
Mama Teri,
Mama
that's
Terry?
she says watch for bears. That's how she says I love you. So
Oh,
that's
I love
what
that.
yeah. And we
Well,
love her.
guys, stay safe. Most importantly, if you see something, say something. So many of us are scared to get involved. If you see something happen, we think about ourselves, we think about what it's going to mean to us. Don't. Just speak up, say something, stay safe. And if you're so inclined, enjoy your wine time. If not, have a mocktail. Okay. Just most importantly, stay safe and tell the people that you love them, because tomorrow is not guaranteed, guys. Uh-oh. Before I say goodbye, somebody said momentary.
Mama Teri.
Oh, Mama Teri. I was like going, did I just
I think
mispronounce my own
I think
name?
her chat name is Teri K, and
It's Teri
she hasn't
K.
been around a ton, but
Yeah. I was like
she's
going,
our
did I
mom.
just mispronounce my name? Oh, another thing we didn't mention here is that there is a new baby tater tot on the Couch Court with Llama.
Yeah.
Annie, who has been on the show, had her little boy, and he is absolutely divine with his little nose. So we want Mama Tater Tot to take care of him. And guys, stay safe, and we will see you all here for True Crime and Wine Time next Thursday. Bye, guys.
Good night.